Okay.
Sit. Here. Good girl. Come here. Sit. Good. Thank you. I know your sister's down there crying. Come here. Here. Good. Sit. Good. Come here. Sit. Good girl. Now with her, she's very happy. She accepts this praise as much as she does food. That whimpering is excitement. She gets really worked up and excited. And see how she sits very still for the praise. She appreciates it as much as she does food. Sit. 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 Good girl. You really have to keep her focused with that food. That's why it's taking so long. You can't get that food away. Her sister's down there making a fool of herself. Come here. So you really have to flash it right in front of that nose. Sit. Good. And you have to get a very consistent sit before you move to the next step, which is moving your hand away. Sit. Good. If she accidentally sits like right there in the middle of the session, be sure to reward her so she makes the connection. Come here. Come here. Good. Sit. Sit. Good girl. Good. And see how she really enjoys that praise? Come here. Come here. Here. Sit. Here. Look at me instead. Sit. Good girl. And you notice right now I'm watching her, and when I'm feeding her, my hand will actually go right in front of her face if she's distracted. Come here. Sit. Sit. Good. With her, make a point of making my whole hand a cup when I reward. Because she gets distracted. That's her problem. Sit. Sit. Good girl. Your next advanced step was to see if you can get her to sit, just holding it under. Sit. Good. Like that. And eventually you move your hand further and further away, and then you'll take the food away. Good girl. Good. Sit. Sit. Good. Good girl. Here. Down. 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 Now, I normally don't start down with them, but until they really have sit, because it's the language of learning, but since she's a little slow to this, I'm going to show you down, and we'll do a couple of repetitions so you know what to do. When you have a surface like this, it's super important that you not let any of the food get on the table. It's also important that with a puppy like this, that you train on some type of elevated surface like this, or have her on a leash, because she's very distractible, and she will do what's called avoidance and just leave if you just try and train her loose. So either a short leash that's about 3 or 4 feet long, or some type of elevated surface. Either one will be fine. So let's work on down a little bit. Down, down, a little bit of pressure, down, good. Not a lot, and the pressure should be back towards her hips, not straight down. The mechanics of the body kind of down and back. Down, down, good. As soon as you hear her elbows click on the table, you reward instantly. Good. Down, down, down. Good girl. Good girl. So she really likes to know, on that repetition, I see she really likes to know there's going to be a reward. So make down. Good girl. She likes down. Good girl. down. If she forgets, flash that food, down. Just a little bit of pressure. Good. So already in 3 repetitions, we've gone from a ton of pressure to just a little. Good girl. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, yum, yum. When he falls on the table, make sure you pick it up, otherwise she'll look to the table for the food all the time, especially little Gato. Come here, we got a friend. Down. Down. Just a little pressure to remind. Good girl. Good. Down. Yes. Good. Down. All flats. Down. Down. This way. Whee. Good girl. And the idea is to go from a lot of pressure to no pressure, to where you're just touching with the finger. Come here. Come here. Down. Down, 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 down. Good. But it also has to be a situation like right there, she was trying to decide she didn't want to do that. You got to make her. If she fights with you, you really have to make her. And don't let her just get up until your finger is off. Once your finger's off, she can stand up. Good girl. Come here. Thing is to also make it fun, a lot of praise. If you see her getting nervous or upset with something, then make sure that you start with a lot of praise and love, take a bit of break. Too much pressure with this puppy is a bad idea, but also letting her get away with what she wants is a bad idea. And this is the reason her training hasn't gone very far, is because when she's done, sit, she's done. So once her food motivation is over, she's done. Come on, sit. Good girl. Very nice. Down. Down. Good girl. It was one finger that time with very little pressure. So if you do those repetitions a couple of times a day with her, as long as this video has been, is all the longer her training needs to be. The treats we use, kind of hard to find. They're called Bil-Jac, and they're frozen. And you usually take and put them in the fridge or break them up about as much as you would use in a week and leave the rest frozen. You kind of got to look for them. I like them because they're very small and they break apart. And you have to remember this puppy's stomach is the size of about a walnut. And your training session, these frozen ones work as well for a diet. You could feed a dog that. So if she eats more of those than her regular food, it's not going to affect anything. It's really mild on the tummy. And she's a very good dog. She does walk the line between too much pressure and not enough pressure. So you want to get her right to the point where I just saw that, where you really have to get her focused on the food. But when you see her stop caring about the food, try and get one last good repetition and be done. If you do that about 5 minutes every day until she's able to start her puppy class, and once she knows those commands really well, I advise that you take her out to one of those places in the city that we talked about and ask her to do some commands in the public, and she'll gain a lot more confidence from that. She's very sweet, very lovely, lovely puppy. But she just shuts down pretty quick with training.